I'm gonna be real. I have no idea how to start this video, so this is like new territory for me, so just bear with me on this, guys.
Paradise Killer.
Paradise Killer is an open-world detective game released in 2020 where it's your goal to explore a now-abandoned pocket dimension to figure out who killed a bunch of alien cult members while having visually pleasing yet eye-bleeding visuals. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well, but it doesn't really sell you on the game. So, well, I guess before I get into my more personal tangents, well, I can at least try to sell you properly on this game, because, well, this video is just going to be mainly me gushing about reasons why I love this game, despite the problems I have with its flaws. And if you've been around for a while, that's kind of just been my MO, especially if you have watched my numerous manga reviews. So, you know, if I'm going to actually attempt to sell you on this, I might as well just redo this entire intro at this point. So just let me rewind this real quick.
Paradise Killer.
Paradise Killer is a 2020 open-world detective game by Kaizen Gameworks, where you play as the thickest detective around, known as Lady Love Dies, where you are tasked with solving the murder of your bosses at the hand of a possible demon. Also, there's also cosmic gods, weirdly eccentric characters, and an empty paradise to explore, which is the most extra looking setting I ever been in. Like, I'm not one for detective games. I'm just going to say that now. In fact, this is going to be probably my first proper foray into the genre. But when I saw a game that promised me with a world full to the brim in Vaporwave aesthetics, a aesthetic that I love dearly, yeah, I played it. I got it first on Switch, and I finished the entire game in, well, one sitting. And now, 1 year after I finished that run, I'm revisiting it on PC so I can enjoy it with proper graphic settings. So come join me on this acid trip as we explore Paradise and find out, well, who the fuck left this precious bean here? This is the real crime to end all crimes, and I am about to execute justice for this puppy. Our story begins with our protagonist, Lady Love Dies, being freed of her exile. Well, technically it doesn't. It starts with these two unnamed characters talking about the incident that happened on Island Sequence 24, which is what we're about to go investigate for the entire game. Because their scenes are in the future for some reason. Like, I'm just going to be real, I don't know what these scenes are about, and I'm pretty sure they aren't important to the story anyway, so honestly, don't worry about these guys. Anyway, Lady Love Dies, or I guess I'll just call her LD because it's easier, is being allowed out of her exile so she can solve the murder of the leader of the syndicate, and I'm gonna butcher this name pronunciation. I think it's Monserrat. I'm gonna have his name up so you can read it. It's fucking hard to pronounce. Ugh. But yeah, he's dead, and the rest of the leaders of the syndicate is also dead. And, well, before you can even walk out the door, you're already being taunted by the demon Shinji. And when you're not looking at Shinji's stupid-ass design, you're soaking in how beautiful her prison is. Like, okay, I'm just going to say this now. I like this brief intro, because it just perfectly encapsulates everything you can expect from the game. Weird character design because of Shinji. Weird architecture, if you couldn't just tell by the fact, like, what's with all these statues? But also really weird dialogue, which I will be speeding through in most of my footage because I am just a naturally fast reader. I am sorry if that is distracting to you. That's just how I played this game. But anyway, my point is, I may use weird to make it sound bad or dismissive, but I really do think it's not a bad thing. I don't mean it as a bad thing, because the thing is, like, weird can be beautiful, as you'll see with this game. once you get really into the visuals, which I will talk about later as well. But yeah, if I ever use weird in the context of this video, it's always going to be in a good way. I just thought I'd make that clear now. Anyway, back to the prison cell villa. We're going to pick up our laptop, the Starlight, and get to solve the first of many puzzles, in quotation marks, where you just pick parts of the symbols to make matching complete symbols. Yeah, I will talk about these puzzles later, because what I really want to talk about now is the frankly amazing introduction as you just jump out of your prison and enter a FIFO as the music finally kicks in. I mean, aside from being an amazing intro credit scene, which just lets you see the island you're about to explore for the next 10 hours, it's the first time we're introduced to the amazing music by Epoch here. Here, I'll let you just immerse yourself in his work real quick.
Relic obtained.
Weird. When love dies, all that remains are the facts.
Secrets are dangerous.
The facts and the truth are not the same.
Brilliant, isn't it? I'll just let it play in the background for now while I finish up here. Once you landed, we meet our first suspect, Lydia Dayrake, who is not only LD's old friend, but also the closest thing we have to someone, well, normal, both design and name-wise. If you think this is quirky, well, boy howdy, you're gonna get several surprises as you meet the rest of the cast. Anyway, she comes to greet you and take you to Judge, who is just every non-binary person's ideal form. I mean, I love that the lore reason for Judge's appearance is that they chose to give up their humanity for the sake of impartial justice, which is why their form has both masculine and feminine features, as well as these random robotic wires. It's a form that makes sense when you think about it, but it also kind of still is really weird and really just fits into this crazy world we're being thrusted into. Oh, and honestly, it's just a perfect introduction to the sort of characters you will meet during the investigation. Ending this tangent though, Judge will explain to you that the crime to end all crimes has happened and you must solve it, which is why she authorized the end of your exile. What was this crime that was apparently so heinous it deserves to top all crimes ever done before it? Well, the Syndicate's council was murdered during the making of the perfect Island Sequence Island Sequence 25. That's the correct sequence of words. Anyway, that's a lot of words I just threw out. So I'm just gonna give you a quick backstory so you can understand just everything I just said real quick. The whole setting we're in right now is a pocket reality, and the Syndicate is pretty much a cult that worships alien gods. The Council are the Syndicate's higher ups who are in charge of pretty much managing the cult, but most importantly, in the context of this game, making the new pocket dimensions for the cult to live in with psychic energy, which they harvest from the people they enslave, which we call the citizens. How do they harvest it, you may ask? Through mass genocide, that's how. Yeah, we're supposed to avenge a bunch of psychopathic cultist leaders, effectively. A real tone setter, isn't it? Anyway, Island Sequence 25 is the next island and was also supposed to be the final one, the perfect paradise. But the murder of the council was discovered during the moving process, and the dimension of Island Sequence 24 is in lockdown until justice is executed. And we're currently in Island Sequence 24, just to make that really clear for you. Anyway, I'll talk more about the world later. I just really want to get past this introduction right now. So Judge will just give you some leads and set you off on your way now. And so I just want to say this now, because before you leave the courtroom where you start the entire game, I guess at this point, and we'll end the game in, well, you can just end the game right now. Yeah, really, Judge only cares about facts, and as far as she's concerned, the obvious suspect is the demon-possessed citizen who did a murder 25 years ago. So you can just start trial now, kill Henry, and fuck off to your ending. There's even an achievement for speedrunning the game like this, and I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the real strengths of this game that I will like on paper. Just saying that now, because at any point in your run, you can just go to the courthouse and start the endgame with whatever evidence you have collected. It sacrifices freedom? Well, no, it sacrifices story for freedom, that's what I meant. And that's a really risky gamble in most games. Not railroading the player can be dangerous, especially if you just let them have a I'm done now button. But it can be a very strong player tool, because if you make an amazing game around that freedom, people will naturally explore and complete the game all by themselves. At that point, the freedom to end the game at your own will is more of a satisfying mechanic to give to the player, because they just get to end the game on their own terms, I guess, basically. You know, you can choose how the story ends and how you want to interpret that story based on what you have found. Maybe you're satisfied with only some of the clues you found and you feel like you got the full picture. Cool. The game will just let you do the trial with those clues you found and get your ending that way. And that is something I really do love, and I think it does fit with the nature of this gameplay. But yeah, we'll talk more about that, but I'm just going to say now, I will applaud the fact that they give players that level of freedom. Because player freedom is one of the game's biggest strengths, and it will also show in other aspects of the gameplay, which we'll get to. So, you know, we'll talk about more about that gameplay now. So, talking about that player freedom aspect, because that is going to be the first thing I will display now. Because you see, the first thing we see when we walk out of the courtroom finally is the entire residential district of the island, and everything you can see, you can actually explore that in person. This is part of the course for any good open world game, but for me, being able to get up and close with a world that is dripping in my favorite aesthetic, well, that is just fabulous and wonderful. But anyway, in the spirit of player freedom, I went the opposite direction. Yeah, I mean, I mainly did it out of spite. Like, no, I will not explore that finely crafted housing you just put in front of me. I'm going to go up the mountain and explore the place where you sacrifice all the occupants of said housing to and do a puzzle that I'm not smart enough to solve. I mean, of course I solved it eventually, the point is I'm stupid. But anyway, I also didn't just do this to spite the devs. I did it because I wanted to go find one of the new characters that added in a post-release update, that being One Last Kiss. Yeah, if you thought Lady Love Dies was like a weird name, wait until you meet the other members of the syndicate. Anyway, Kiss over here is dead and wants you to solve her death, because why not add another murder to your plate? You know, you're already solving one, what's another one? And actually, when I think about it, Judge also throws us another murder at us, so that's 3 murders we have to solve now. Yeah, thanks, Judge. But yeah, you're gonna have to solve One Last Kiss's murder anyway, because she is sadly plot relevant. And so I hope you're ready to climb this mountain over and over again. To my annoyance, I really kind of hate it. Alright, you know, packing it in, because I really shouldn't be showing my hand this early into the video. So, I've kind of lost where I'm going with the structure of the script. So, let's talk more about the aesthetics, since we already kind of started talking about that. Island Sequence 24 is a strangely beautiful place because of how it kind of just utilizes the aesthetic of Vaporwave to build something you would more likely see from the cosmic horror genre. Like, okay, I know that's like a lot of just big words I just thrown out there, so let's break it down once again. What is Vaporwave? Well, Vaporwave is a microgenre in terms of both music and art style. Focusing on the style side of that definition right now, it's defined by its use of bright neon colors, objects, and pieces that don't really fit in together while building it through retro computer imagery. And it kind of all strangely becomes something like it's either gonna look absolutely ugly and disgusting, which is the point, or it will end up looking really strangely beautiful, which I guess is just going to be me because I like that aesthetic a lot. But the point is, aside from it being one of my favorite art styles that I always try to replicate in my thumbnails at least, although I would say I fail at that, the point is, if you play this game and you just listen to what I just said, you may think, well, this doesn't seem like a traditional application of Vaporwave, mainly because the pieces that don't fit in are usually like real life pieces, or maybe anime, if you want to go into the anime Vaporwave subgenre of this microgenre. It's really fucking weird. I'm not going to get into the real meat and potatoes of that. The point is, if you just look at what I presented and then look at the game, it may not look like it fits into Vaporwave aesthetics, but I would say you have to look at it like this, okay? It's invoking a reversal of the stereotypical elements of Vaporwave. The objects that don't fit in is the architecture. It's normal, it's simple, it's something we see in everyday life, provided you live in Japan, because that's the only place you're going to see architecture like this. The part that does fit in is the alien structures, be it the massive statues, these pyramids, or the rest of the abnormalities you will find littered around the island. And this is even further supported by how they choose to texture everything in the game. The architecture looks like it's made from a PS1 era console, or I guess PS1 era level of computer graphics, with its low-res texturing and its, blocky feeling. Invoking that retro aspect needed to complete the look, while the realistic pieces is, the alien stuff, because it's made to look more modern with its more smoother feeling and, mainly the higher polygon count. It makes you feel like the setting itself is permanently stuck in the 90s, with the alien influences being at least 30 years ahead of the humans with all these extra polygons. It kind of feels like it's implying that the aliens are far more ahead of us, and it's something that not even humans should be able to start to comprehend, which is why I would compare it to the cosmic horror genre. And you may think that statement is stupid, but Yuri Knight over here is still using a Nokia flip phone, so I feel pretty fucking valid in saying that. I mean, sure, we have robot arms, cars with dimensional travel capabilities, and devices that fold energy to produce, they fold reality to produce energy. That's what I meant to say. But, this motherfucker over here is still using a flip phone. You cannot convince me otherwise. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, that was supposed to be my brilliant segue into talking about the characters and how silly their names are. I mean, yeah, if you weren't impressed by the My Chemical Romance album or the Part 6 stand, be prepared for some more weird names with equally fabulous designs. I mean, we've already talked about the Fujoshi bait that is Lesbian Evening, but there is also Dr. Doomjazz, Grand Marshal Accio 14, Witness to the End, Crimson Acid, and Sam, and who, despite having the most boring name, has the coolest design and therefore is entitled to the smoothest voice of the cast.
Fancy a drink?
I mean, this guy's voice is like smooth butter. Smooth? Melted butter. Melted butter? Smooth? The point is, I like his voice. And I like him a lot. And I mean, there's also, of course, going to be characters with more normal names like Carmelina or Henry, but Sam? Oh my god, he is such a dreamboat. And I think that Lydia has this hunk all to herself. It's like, oh, I am so jealous. Anyway, the point is though, if I'm going to talk about the characters, just briefly, because I really want you to experience the characters for yourself, and I have to, I guess, encapsulate how I felt about all the characters' personalities. Well, I'm just going to say, Sam and Lydia are easily my favorite characters of the cast. Because they're like, well, the nicest people you'll meet, and you'll genuinely learn to sympathize with them. Like, because the thing is, right, in this game, everyone has their own motives and have to protect themselves and themselves only. Going back to Yuri as an example, well, he's a huge narcissistic piece of shit. To such a level, they have to put a statue of the originator of the word narcissism in his background, just so you know he's that much of a self-serving little cunt. Sorry, I made myself giggle with that one. But anyway, yeah, other great examples of this, I guess, self-serving character principle is Crimson Acid, who only cares about a tiny little profit, and while she seems nice to you, only seems to be doing it to entice us into buying her secrets. At least to begin with. Even Doomjazz only seems to be nice so he can get laid. But you know, as more you hang out with these characters, you will discover more. There's maybe more layers to these characters, except Yuri, because Yuri is that much of a narcissistic arsehole. But no, the thing is, what I like about Lydia and Sam, though, is that they're generally nice people throughout the game. Lydia was our best friend after all, and Sam is just a really cool dude who will serve you cocktails while catching up. It kind of just leads you to believe that Sam and Lydia have no ulterior motives, and makes you think they are innocent. Even when the game throws all sorts of evidence to make us doubt everyone, to make everyone into red herrings. Well, the writing of these two characters alone makes you want to trust them. Like, sure, it will lead to some narrative dissonance, as LD is characterized to only care about the truth, and therefore not how we, the player, feel about these two characters. But, you know, fuck you, writers, and fuck you, narrative. You put one final smooch in this game, so if you want to screw the plot, so will I. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off course again, so, Crimson Acid. Let's talk about Crimson Acid and why her design is really cool. I'll just put this out there now. All the characters in this game is fabulous. Even the plain-ass Henry is fabulous in his little prison garbs. But if I had to once again limit myself to talking about only one of these character designs, you know, just a design that perfectly encapsulates the game and most importantly saves me time, it's Crimson Acid. I mean, look at her. She is the perfect case of what the Syndicate is. A demonic cult that is full of selfish people. I mean, sure, that's not obvious, but like, look, if you weren't drawn to her massive double D titties at first glance, you would have noticed the massive goat head, and thinking about the implications of this head, well, it was the spark that made me want to revisit the game, so I can talk about it. Because you see, the backstory to Crimson Acid is that she was, well, a soldier, a famous one at that, even getting nicknamed Glamour of the Battlefield. But then after the Great Betrayal, which is when humanity turned on the gods, she joined the Syndicate, and during our exile, she was blessed with the goat head and was convinced to become the Syndicate's idol. Okay, so now let's go back through that, but let's break down each segment of that. She was quite clearly considered beautiful to get the nickname Glamour of the Battlefield, but then she was blessed with the goat head. The blessing is the interesting part here, because the surrounding narrative to that. Because we know from LD's exile that the crime of, well, I guess crime in quotations mark, but the crime of deception by godhood, well, is a crime. So what makes Crimson's case so different? Because there's 3 cases of deception by godhood that we know about in the game before we get into spoilers. And LD got prosecuted for it. We learn that Carmelina's father was also deceived by a god, and that was also, well, he got executed as well. I mean, LD didn't get executed, she got exiled. The point is, deception by godhood is a massive crime in this reality, this setting. But Crimson, she didn't get punished. She was celebrated and was paraded around like an idol to show off, well, this is what your devotion can get you to the citizens. She was the golden bull, frankly. She was a false idol for the syndicate. And I can't help but think this is part of, here comes the difficult name again, Monsiat's own deception. How he will prosecute LD for being deceived by damned harmony, but when Crimson Acid is possibly also being deceived as well by Endless Moon, he'll gladly spin it to suit the cult's needs. And to get even a little bit more spoilery here, it's also suspected that Yuri Knight himself is partaking in deception via Enchanted Blue, being gifted with improved physique and intelligence. It's the same sort of blessing as Crimson, but his form is a crime. It's that double standard that makes Crimson Acid's existence so damn interesting. Because it just shows how so self-serving everyone in the cult is. And it just really just shows once you start thinking about it and you actually start picking away through the setting. While we're talking about the blessings, can we even talk about how Crimson Acid's blessing might not even be a blessing? I mean, if you look into it, the alien gods are just higher powered demons. There's it's pretty much blurred lines between what counts as demons and what counts as gods in this setting. So yeah, it just really depends on how you look at it. Who's to say Damned Harmony was actually evil? Crying Gudge is good. They're all demons deceiving humanity. Hell, we're still celebrating the gods' cosmic deceit and Damned Harmony even after they made characters commit crimes. It's wild. And of course that's why they're being hunted outside this pocket world, because they're demons. We're not supposed to be worshipping these people. It's just through the lens of the cult we have chosen that these demons are good, but then being blessed by these demons or acting as these demons, I guess, avatars is the best way to put it. That's a crime. It's weird, it's backwards, but it's really up to the leadership to decide who is actually committing the crimes. It's because I kind of lost my point now. The point is, it's absolutely fucking crazy that this is allowed to happen, but then when Crimson Acid gets blessed, they will gladly turn it into something that is good. And it's when we can see the toll this blessing has had on Crimson Acid, because, well, she was technically deceived twice. First by her god, and then by Montserrat, who deceived her into living a life she hates. She doesn't like being an idol, but she did it because she was deceived to do so. To me, Crimson Acid perfectly represents one of the two key themes of the story. Deception. It's a theme that seeps into every part of the game, from the story to the setting, even to the character design. It's the reason why I love this game so much, which is why it hurts my damn soul to say that I have some slight problems with the actual gameplay as well. I mean, look, the gameplay is fine. It works, dare I say, but it can be mind-numbing. Very mind-numbing. I mean, okay, maybe before I go on my tangent, I should actually explain what we're doing here. Because look, see, I'd lied to you in the intro. This isn't an open-world detective game. It's an open-world collectathon where your main clue, your main form of collectibles are clues you need to uncover. Well, you need to uncover to discover more of the story. So yeah, I really do hope you love platforming and parkour, because you're going to be doing a lot of it on top of walking. Yay! I mean, look, see, your key suspects, they are scattered all around the island, and you simply need to find them, so you can either hang out with them and hope they eventually tell you more secrets, or you can just interrogate them on the evidence you come across. Ideally, between these walks, you will stumble into more clues or the crime scenes around the island, but most of the time you're exploring the island to find these blood crystals, and these blood crystals are your lifeblood, because you need them for literally fucking everything. You want to unlock some more fast travel points? Blood crystals. You want to use those fast travel points you just unlocked? Well, that's more blood crystals. You want to get some world building collectibles from these pyramids, which may contain some evidence as well? Blood crystals. You want to get some new movement tech from these foot spas that help with, well, making the travel less tedious? Blood crystals. Your progression is gated by fucking blood crystals. You need them to get the nearest cipher systems for Starlight, which is used to get more of evidence and get you into places you cannot normally access. You need them to move around the island from these fast travel points if you don't feel like enjoying the beautiful sights like you should be. Fuck, if you even want to hang out with Crimson Acid or Sam, they require blood crystals for some reason. Like, you need to pay Crimson Acid blood crystals to get new leads, and Sam requires 1 blood crystal per hangout. Like, God, I hate this system upon returning to this game, and I can see why I blanked it out. I mean, if I'm just gonna, I guess, play devil advocate to my own argument for a second, I would also argue that the blood crystals do a good job of making you explore the island and really immersing yourself in the setting. I can see the intention, and I can respect that. It's just that it could have been done better. Like, what if we didn't need them to gather clues? Like, Sam doesn't need the chargers to drink with him, and we could just, I don't know, trade evidence we found with Crimson to get more evidence instead of blood crystals. I mean, sure, you gave us a lore reason for why she wants the blood crystals, but doesn't change the fact from the gameplay's perspective, it still fucking sucks. I mean, okay, and also, I'm thinking about it, why does Sam even have to charge us? I mean, come on, we're just catching up, aren't we? Why does he have to charge us per drink? Is it just being nice at that point? I don't know. Ugh. I mean, like I said earlier, one of the game's strongest points is the player freedom, and you can just end the story if you want. You could just deliberately ignore hanging out with these 2 characters and not get the full picture, and that's fine if you want to do that. I respect that. I'll still applaud that. But you see, I'm not you. I want the full story. I want to enjoy the efforts of the writing team's work. I like the story, but uncovering the mystery requires so much fucking sidetrack during the travel time to key points of interest, it gets kind of a little annoying. Thankfully, it does line up during the endgame when you can just focus on the walking around and not the collecting, and for the early game, oh well, we have puzzles. Surely those are good little brain teasers like you would expect from the detective game, right? The puzzles are barely puzzles. Like, I got an achievement for this valve puzzle, but all I did was walk around the plantation, pick up these valves, walked up here, inserted the valves, and turned them. That's not a puzzle, that's just a fetch quest. Same with this crane puzzle, except now it's trial and error. Like, the cipher puzzles are the closest we got to, like, puzzles in this game, I would say. And I hope you like doing these, because it's required for so many things, and I will admit they are a little bit challenging, but I'm also stupid, so take that statement with a grain of salt. I don't know what else to bring up now, since, well, there isn't much else outside of what I just talked about. I mean, I guess I can paste the auto walk function, meaning you can save yourself from holding up the whole time, and the existence of the sprint button is nice. Honestly, I think I like the on-foot traversal. It's not that bad, and it gets only better once you unlock the double jump and the air dash. It's just, once again, kind of annoying that you have to find blood crystals to unlock these abilities. It's like, why? And I guess I should also talk about the other collectibles, because, well, here's the thing, right? When you're not collecting blood crystals, you can either be collecting Shinji conversations, which I like. I won't really be talking about Shinji here a lot, but I'm just going to say now Shinji is a really good outsider perspective. I know that's weird to say about a crazy demon, but this game is wild as shit. He's the closest thing you will have to a straight man in this plot. So yeah, go out of your way to get these Shinji conversations that actually can be really interesting at times, depending on what he has to say. But yeah, aside from that, there's a lot of world building ones either be showing what citizens are doing around the island, there's little ways this syndicate keeps all the citizens under control, and there's even like mementos to previous island sequences, so a little bit of world building there. There's also like little descriptions you can find about the gods in these pyramids, which is also great, and I really love. But yeah, no, oh god, and of course there's the fucking whiskies. So you remember those two characters from the start of the game? Well, I hope you like seeing these guys every time you pick up a whiskey, because, well, yeah, I don't know what's the point of the whiskies, and I don't know what's the point of these characters, so I'm just gonna put that down as a con, as what's the point of any of this? Like, is it just filler at that point? Yeah, anyway, I guess the only other thing we can talk about right now is what it's like to talk to the other characters, and well, the footage speaks for itself. Just talk to the characters, pick an option sometimes, and question them on clues you find in the overworld. Because literally anything important that comes up in these conversations, or anything you pick up that is important in the overworld, will be automatically documented by Starlight, and you can just go open up Starlight at any time and check what you have gathered for, and also what leads you have to follow to point you in other places. And you know what, I'm just going to say this now, I really like Starlight, because like I said, it keeps track of everything. It even helps you plot out a timeline of events, and most importantly, it lets you queue up all the music you have collected and choose if you want the music to be played immersively from the island speakers or via your ears. It's great. You know what's also great? The B-side tapes you can collect thanks to the update. Why yes, I do want more Epoch's music being beamed into my ears. Thanks guys. By the way, the entire soundtrack plus B-side tapes are available on Spotify, so go listen to them. You have like no excuse to miss out on this soundtrack, even if you don't want to play the game. It's an amazing soundtrack. Go listen to it. Anyway, that overall update though is nice. You know, aside from adding the B-side tapes. Because we also get to enjoy the game with proper RTX graphics, which you can't see because YouTube compression, but trust me, it's there. It's beautiful. And, well, there's also One Last Kiss, who is, I can't do this anymore. I need to talk about the story again. I'm sorry. I'm going to put up the timestamp now, which you can skip to for my final thoughts on this game, since I want to do like a proper plot analysis now, which requires me to spoil stuff, so skip ahead if you want. I mean, if you don't want to, you can just leave, I guess, or keep watching. But I will say this now, no matter what I said during this video or during the story section, you need to experience this game. I will recommend this game wholeheartedly even after I have wailed on all its flaws. It's still a great game and you need to play it. That's why I haven't even really bothered talking about how cool all the characters are, and I limited myself as much as I can, because I want you to experience them for yourself. So go, it's like 30 AUD on Steam and worth every single fucking penny. Okay, so I think that's enough time for everyone who wants to leave can leave, or at least pause the video. So let's talk about how One Last Kiss ruins the story for me, because she represents a big core problem I have with, well, the story structure itself. So depending on what conspiracy you decide to chase, the story is either a how they did it or a who did it, which I was not a fan of initially, because here's the thing, the game will do its best to make everyone seem like a suspect, but the actual suspects are Akio, Kamalina, Yui, and the daybreak couples, and most importantly Witness. Right now, I am going to focus on the first three for now, as they're the ones relevant to my problems with One Last Kiss. Because here's the thing, the game doesn't hide their intentions well, because once you do some surface level digging, it's quite clear that the motives of those three are the strongest of the cast to commit the crime. So just starting from the top, Akio is a big boss situation if you're familiar with Metal Gear Solid, where she's mainly just doing it to guarantee the safety and continued survival of those under her command, since every island sequence jump, her men are left to die with the island. So she has grown to be overly attached to her men and want to save them. It's kind of admirable, despite how much of an asshole she is. Yuri, on the other hand, is just looking out for himself. Not happy with his station, he's just doing whatever he can do to climb the syndicate ladder, which is why he allowed himself to be deceived. He's self-serving and fits perfectly as one of the criminals in the story. Carmelina Science, though, I like her the most because she is easily the most sympathetic character in the cast. We find out throughout solving the mystery that her father was deceived by Cosmic Deceit and committed treason, which led to her father's execution and the entire Silence bloodline being barred from ascending to the council. Her mother would later die fighting off a demonic invasion, and probably in an attempt to redeem the family in the eyes of the council, but she's still not allowed to ascend to leadership. She orchestrated this whole murder, planning for years on how to do it, even ascending to architect and hiding her own son away for decades just in preparation for the night she can execute her plan. These three are great villains, which is why it breaks my little heart that they added one concluding smooch in the post-release update, who feels like it was just it feels like she was added just so it's easier for a newer player to figure out the Carmelina conspiracy. Because while it was already kind of easy to figure out who the murders were once you started the investigation, at least the red herring clues were able to make you think twice, and breaking the alibis of all those characters was actually a fun challenge and required a lot of looking. Yes, but here's the thing, one ending tongue here though, just kind of makes it really fucking obvious, because soon as you prove that One Last Kiss is Grace Bloodlines, a dead syndicate exodus, she might as well just say Carmelina murdered her and framed Henry for it. Because like, even if you don't interrogate One Last Kiss, well, and you just want to talk about the world building information she adds, which is the demonology, well, you find out that the Perfect 25 isn't even perfect, mainly because, well, the demon repelling concrete just means the demon energy that gets sent to the island will just make it easier for people to get possessed. And because now they're not getting stuck in the concrete, so that kind of just makes sure that Akio's soldiers would have a continued served purpose. It's really, really, really fucking annoying, and I hate that. I mean, fuck, even if you don't want to interact with One Last Kiss, well, her location just makes it really easy to investigate a spot which is needed to break Carmelina's alibi. Like, her existence just removes some of the joy of sorting out the mystery for yourself, and that's why I really fucking hate her. She just ruined everything, and for what? Some interesting world building that I happen to like, mainly in terms of explaining how demons work in this setting. I love that, but still, fuck you. You made figuring out the Carmelina mystery too easy. Anyway, ignoring One Last Kiss now, the rest of the story is actually amazing, especially with its double conspiracy angle. Yes, you heard me right, double conspiracy angle. So there was a reason why I didn't talk about the actual characters, and that's because out of the 10 suspects we can interrogate, only 4 of them is actually innocent in the context of the story, and therefore not that interesting to talk about. I mean, at least in this phase of the game. I mean, I've already talked about why I like Crimson Acid. One Last Kiss had a spotlight just now, and well, there isn't really much to Doom Jazz right now. Outside, you can rely on him for medical opinions, and I guess he likes to fuck. I did skip over Henry though, and that's mainly because I want to talk about Henry in the next paragraph. So, no, let's talk about the conspiracies you can uncover in this game, because, well, we've already covered in depth the Carmelina conspiracy, but there's also the Witness conspiracy, which I would argue is the easier one of the two to uncover, because you kind of have to stumble into it very easily while investigating the murder. But I would also, it's the harder one to bring to justice if you have the morals, because solving that case may lead to the death of 2 of my favorite characters, which is the daybreaks. And that's why I think it's hard, because you see, what I liked about Lydia and Sam is that out of the entire cast, they're the only ones who are willing to be upfront with us. They're willing to out themselves with their problems with the syndicate and even give us motivations for why they would want to do this, because all they want to do is leave the syndicate so they can live lives outside of this fake reality. It just happened that Witness preyed upon that weakness on them and made them do one more dirty job before they can earn that freedom. So they willingly became pawns of Witness for the promise of freedom, and if you choose to call them out on their actions in the trials, you will see them break down and you will have to kill them. So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, it's really difficult doing that, because like, you can't blame one of them for the crimes, because the other one will immediately out themselves. For example, in my footage, I decided to pin Lydia instead of Sam, and Lydia will just break down in tears, feeling betrayed by LD, her best friend, telling us that she only did it for the freedom, and she even tries to protect Sam here, but Sam will just straight up out himself as well, because he doesn't want to live in a world without Lydia. That's how much these two love each other, and it guilt trips you into thinking that these guys are innocent. Yeah, I'm like, fuck. I personally found it difficult for a while too to do that. But the game kind of does recognize that, because if you decide to only pin Witness with the killer demon, he won't out Lydia or Sam. Lydia and Sam can pretty much skate by without punishment if you want to, because Witness does have morals, and that's another reason why I find this kind of difficult to prosecute this conspiracy. Because, you see, while Witness may be an insane zealot worshipping demons, he won't give up Lydia or Sam, because he has morals, and he only did it because, well, he wanted the Syndicate to return to his original goals, which is reviving the gods. But and that's what I like, he has morals, unlike, well, the other three we talked about. But yeah, no, the thing is, he never wanted to kill the council either. He just was hoping to spook them by making them think that the demon was karmic justice. But it unfortunately turned into a murder and into a conspiracy because it collided with Carmelina's plans. So yeah, I mean, I want to say Witness once again has good intentions, and that made me kind of not want to prosecute him. But he also kind of did guilt trip a bunch of people into working for him, and also caused bodily harm, and his actions were still kind of radical. So yeah, I'm glad he kind of died. So, of course, despite how I felt personally at the time, I shot all 6 suspects, including the daybreaks, because I felt like that's what LD would have done in that case, as someone who only cares about justice. And with the trials over, or I guess at this point, if I was to switch to my perspective, I have entered the post-trial phase of the game, where you are left to walk to Lydia's car all by yourself so you can leave the island. And it was during this walk I kind of started thinking, because the thing is, what I like about this walk is that it gives you time to think about the actions and the story you have just partaked in, and really reflect on what happened. And I did reflect. And that's when it finally hit me. Did we really deliver justice? This is a thought I pondered upon for a while, because, I just took the time to really walk around the post-trial island. Did we really execute justice? Is justice even something the cast is allowed to have? Because when you think about it, only one person in this cast can be considered innocent, and that's Henry. Sure, he committed crimes, but if you hang out with him, you find out he only did the crime so he could have some resemblance of friends. You also find out he was coerced into summoning a demon by Yui, and then it was the demon that used him to kill his mother. Henry was arguably the only innocent one out of the whole cast because he doesn't actually have true blood on his hands. He is a pawn in every aspect of the story. Like in both Carmelina's plans, he's also the pawn of the demon, but you have to remember he's also the pawn of the syndicate because remember you have to remember citizens aren't here by choice. We find out they are kidnapped and forced to work in the syndicate against their own will. Only those who give into the indoctrination can rise up in the ranks, but the rest are effectively slaves or even fuel for the syndicate, as we've seen with the mass sacrifice building. I kept calling the syndicate a cult for a reason, and because it is. And it means the syndicate is innately evil. All syndicate members are evil because of that by proxy, and it is not just because of the enslavement of innocence. They all have their own flaws. Like Doomjazz, we find out over the game how many times he has broken protocol for his own gain or for the gain of other people. That's why he has deliberately not fixed his surveillance system. It just makes him easier to get away with all this. And especially fucking citizens, which is an illegal crime according to syndicate law. Crimson Asset, which is I guess the other innocent of this story, isn't really innocent because I mean, come on, we find out she is willing to tap into all sorts of communications and flip secrets she discovers for profit, like she does during the course of the investigation. And like, sure, she aids us throughout the investigation because of these efforts, but it's still a fucking crime, isn't it? Oh, it's like if you don't think that is even not enough proof about how evil the syndicate is, you can find an island sequence memento you can find which celebrates the fact that Lost Pain is slowly resurrecting himself on the dark side of the moon. Lost Pain is a god hell-bent on the murder of humanity, and we're celebrating that fact. Like, wow, okay, sure. The syndicate is clearly all types of wrong, and the thing is, we're executing justice on their behalf. We're letting Crimson Acid and Doomjazz slide because they don't neatly fit into the murders, despite the fact they are also lawbreakers in their own ways. It made me feel empty when I finished those trials. Because, yeah, have you really achieved anything at all? It's probably why Judge lets you carry around your gun again, after the trials, and lets you restart the Psycho unit LD used to be the boss of. Because now you can technically execute your own justice. Your own version of it, I guess. Free of the facts and the truths. And you can do it on your own biases. It's also probably why you're allowed to visit any living suspects and say your farewell before leaving, but if you really want to, you can choose to execute or exile these people. Except one last case, because sadly he can't shoot a ghost as much as I would love to do that. Anyway, with the ability to execute my own biased version of Giant Justice, and being left with my own thoughts for a while, I shot all 3 remaining suspects. For Doomjazz and Crimson Acid, it was because I didn't like the feeling of them going guilt-free. They're both morally bankrupt people, and while they did serve their purpose in the story, I just personally couldn't ignore their crimes after really just thinking about it. Henry, though, it was a mercy kill. He can't come to the next island on the basis that he is a citizen, but also because he's possessed by a demon. His existence is a threat, so you either leave him to die on the island, or you put him out of his misery, and I chose the latter, because, if you hang out with him, you will find out that the demon causes him great physical pain, which is why he has the constant attitude. And so, yeah, killing him is the best thing I could do for him right after proving his innocence. Like, fuck, you now have a clean conscience, I might as well let you live with that instead of the eternal pain you'll be suffering from the demon. And now, well, I'm walking a near empty island, only populated by the citizen marshals, me and Judge, and yet I felt empty because it's not because I can't kill Judge either, and that really did bother me personally. I mean, Judge may claim to base their judgment based on the facts and the law, but those laws are most likely written by the Syndicate, and we've already been talking about why the Syndicate is evil and how gross it is. Like, justice is only an arbiter of gross, self-serving justice that can be twisted on a dime. It's really gross, and I would love to kill Justice for that, but the main reason why I continue to feel empty is because I can't turn the gun on myself. LD isn't innocent at all. She is just as evil as the people I have just killed with my own hands, and depending on how you roleplay her, you can see the different levels of evil she is. I mean, being part of the Syndicate and not seeing fault with their goals is a huge one, but I think the three that really stood out to me were the following. First, there's a Shinji conversation you can find where Shinji will explain that the ultimate goal of the gods we worship is to turn Earth into a sea of flames, and LD is just apathetic to it. She doesn't see a problem with that. Like, okay, sure, we're talking about gods we serving killing us all, and that's not a problem? Like, okay? Little wrong in the head there, but sure. Yeah, and then secondly, we can see gapping it with Doom Jazz about music types they're into and how they look forward to inducting more citizens so they can get more genres of music to listen to. It's like, wow, okay, we're just casually talking about induction like it's a good thing now. Wow, great characters. And it's those two things that really just shone a light on LD's actions, because oh god, LD is a deceptive little fucking shit. Because here's the thing, if you talk to Henry, you can choose choices that agree with Henry that the Syndicate is evil. But despite her self-awareness to say that, she is still willing to serve the Syndicate in its goals. And that's when you realize how deceptive LD is. She will say literally anything she wants if it means she can get the truth. She is self-serving and deceptive. Like, and when you think about it, she has every single reason to be deceptive, because at the end of the day, she's rewarded for it. Like, she gets to have her old life back by killing a few people. She is effectively just a terrible person. Hell, if I really role-played her properly, I probably should have left Acid and Doom Jazz alive, because they're both important assets to her now. But yeah, no, I hate it. I really hate it. And I do believe the actual LD who believes in the facts and the truth is someone who's willing to do anything to reveal that truth, even if it meant backstabbing or lying to suspects. This paradise isn't actually paradise. It's a den of evil, and we have become complacent in keeping it that way over the course of the game. Every single person in the Syndicate are twisted, and we just happen to get rid of the ones who got too cocky, who tried to challenge the status quo. We are in the forces of sick justice, and the fact that I can't turn the gun on myself and achieve proper, real justice to fully rid of this hellhole of evil, it leaves me empty. Empty. That's the second key theme in this game. Deception and empty. They aren't exactly two sides of the same coin, but I feel like they both perfectly represent the two halves of the game. Or, as how I've been putting it, it's two phases. During the pre-trial phase of the game, you slowly peel back the layers of this so-called paradise, revealing the lies of the cast, sorting through the deception, finding out how they have all deceived each other for centuries. It's your goal to sort through their deception as you uncover a new piece of information, and with each piece of evidence you collected, you are full of satisfaction. This joy of knowing you have gone closer to solving this conspiracy, a necessity of the detective game formula. Then you get to the transitional stage, which is the trial. Present the facts to reveal the truth and execute your own justice. But then the twist in the vibe happens. You are left on a dying island, and where you should be living with satisfaction, you're left to think about the climax of the story and the lead up to that climax until it hits you. You only manage to achieve a twisted sense of justice, and you are left empty to, or I guess to use another very appropriate word, unsatisfied. And that's the true identity of that coin I was talking about. Satisfaction and dissatisfaction. I guess to sum up that unconscious stream of thought I just blasted into your brains for the last couple minutes, this game left me unsatisfied. And you know what? That's great. I'm actually being serious. It's great that this game left me feeling like that. A good game should make you feel something. And in this case, it made me feel like I didn't achieve anything, and I love that. There is a reason why I compared this setting to Cosmic Horror earlier. It's not just because we're dealing with the equivalent of Elder Gods, but because the game fills you with existential dread as soon as you start reading between the lines. Suddenly, your joy of investigating and bringing criminals to justice is replaced with the fact that you are surrounded by evil. No matter what you do, no matter how many people you kill, no matter how many conspiracies you reveal, you can't punish them all. In the end of the day, you are only executing someone else's twisted sense of justice. You were just a pawn of evil. And that's the cherry on top of this beautiful story. It's not only a well-told mystery with interesting characters and settings, but it also helps you feel something you rarely feel in gaming. The weirdly satisfying feeling of dissatisfaction. Paradise Killer is a beautiful game, not just visually but writing-wise as well. The setting is intriguing, the characters are well written, and the mystery is fun to solve. While I hate its soft pivot early on in the mystery, I did enjoy the figuring out the how they did it angle a lot. While I do have some problems with the tedium of walking around, especially during the end game when you're just trying to kill time to finish off the hangouts, and as well as getting all the collectibles during the early game, I do think it's worth your time. It's a solid 10 to 12 hour adventure which you can make shorter if you want, and it's available on Steam or consoles at a reasonable price. This game made me look forward as well to whatever Kaizen Gameworks is working on next, which actually just got revealed recently. Promise Mascot Agency, while missing the vibrancy of Paradise Killer, looks promising with a weird Yakuza mystery with some more weirder elements. It looks like the scope of this game will also be wider in terms of what we're exploring, so I look forward to trying it out and talking about it if it inspires anything in me like Paradise Killer did, and I suspect it will. I mean, if its writing is remotely close to the quality presented in this game, I think it's going to be another slam dunk for the studio. But until then though, well, I think this little slice of paradise will keep me satisfied for now.